So good morning, Karen. Thank you very much for joining me. It's an absolute pleasure. We've known each other for quite a long time, and your story is very, very interesting. I'm sure there's lots and lots of fabulous women who will be very interested in hearing your story. But first of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Moira Doherty. I am the midlife business guru and founder of the WOWS Collective, which stands for Wonderful Older Women Succeeding. And I absolutely believe I help women to change their lives midlife because we can. We are never too old and there is nothing to stop us. So Karen, thank you. Would you like to just introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about your story and about your son and about the challenges you have to get your business up and running.
Right. Hello. Yes. Well, I'm Karen Wright. I run my business from home, and I have done for the last 19 years or so. I'm a professional landscape architect and environmental manager, but I'm also, as you say, I'm a parent carer. So 4 years into setting up my business, I became a parent carer, and I then had to adapt the business to suit that. So there's a lot of things you have to factor in when you become a special needs mum, which you don't know to start off with. It's like running a new business. You've got to learn all these things along the way. So there's a relentless appointments, understanding how you can help and support your child. And there's so many sort of like demands on your time. So I adapted my business just to suit that. So I just worked term time. So I only work 38 weeks of the year. I generally only work 3 days a week. And I only work within school hours. And I manage my business, and I try and take on very specific projects or contracts that are quite long term, so that I can sort of bide my time to sort of produce the deliverables without it becoming too stressful, because there's always things that would just take you off guard, take you out, without realizing. So yeah, that's what I've basically done. But recently, I've decided to restructure and rebrand my business, and that's where I got involved in yourself and the community, because one thing I did realize as an entrepreneur and a female entrepreneur at home, working from home, and a special needs mum, it can be very lonely. It really can. And sometimes you just really want somebody to talk to and have a sounding board and say, look, I've written this, what do you think? Or I'm thinking of going in this particular direction, what do you think? And this is why it was quite timely when I sort of met yourselves and all these other wonderful women that are my sounding board now, because I was rebranding the business to try and tie it in with what I'd learned as a parent carer over 15 years and as a landscape architect, and sort of drawing these two things together to become, to basically design environments that were created specifically for targeted activities. And that's basically where the business is going. So taking on board everything I'd learned and then recreating that into the business and taking that forward. And there's so many factors you have to consider. And this is what you taught us as well, having to think about your online presence, who you're looking for to take your business to, how you're going to deliver that, branding, all that sort of thing. And it's been a really exciting journey, actually, and one I really wouldn't have wanted to do on my own. Seriously, on my own. And every day there's some sort of post comes up and you sort of spot it and you think, oh wow, look at that, that's so inspirational, and so it pushes you a bit further to keep going yourself. So yeah, that's the sort of bit of a background to what I've been up to.
What have you found? Because I'm sure, in fact, I know for 100% there's a lot of women that will be watching this. There's a lot of women in midlife who find themselves as a parent carer, and then they believe that all their hopes and dreams of other things are over. Yeah. And you've also obviously gone through that process, have those thoughts occur to you, and all those other things. So what sort of things have you overcome and sort of put into their boxes so that you can think, because like you say, you're working so that the two can work together, so that they can combine together, which is so inspirational, Karen. It really, really is. But you sort of sat back and said, it's not the end of the world. I have to combine the two. So what sort of things were the biggest hurdles that you had to overcome?
So I think the first part was the realization that I just couldn't go out and get a job. That if I wanted to change from doing my business, I couldn't go out and just find another job. It just isn't practical. And that's what I think I find when I'm speaking to so many other parent carers. It's that frustration of not being able to just go, I'd really love to do that or whatever, and feeling that you're going to let that person down, or you're not going to be able to keep it going, and then you feel even more guilty. So it's like a double-edged sword. You can't win. So setting up your own business is really one of the answers. And making it something that you're happy about and passionate about is I think is the first solution. But being also surrounded by people that can support you to help you get that up and running and understand what you need to have in place to do that properly, and so that you feel confident that what you've got as your basis, your starting point, is the right thing, and the encouragement along the way for those days when you don't feel quite up to what you do, what you want to do that day. You think, oh, really, have I got to do this? And having somebody to spur you on, basically. But it can be done. It's not easy. There are days when it's really hard, really tough. And but I think it's managing your time. And I know that's something that you always talk to us about as well, about scheduling things. And that's what I do in my home life, in terms of like planning ahead and understanding like a massive long-term vision of where I want my son to be in the future, and all of the parts of that jigsaw that need to be put together and managed. And the other thing I found as well with that is taking back your own control, having your own self-control over what you're doing with your family and your child. And that's sort of what my business is all about, is taking back your control. Once you've got a bit more control over that side of your life, and you can start to see the benefits and the sort of like improvements, that gives you even more confidence to then say, right, well, I could put a bit more of my time into something else. I know I speak to so many special needs mums who saying, I really would like to do this or this or this, but they never quite get to that point where they actually commit to doing it, because they literally are scared and afraid to do that, because they know that they don't have as much control over what else is going on in their lives. So they think, how could I possibly then do something else? And I think it's breaking it down into, and this is what I'm basically trying to explain to people as well, is about taking back control. You can't expect others to always provide you with, the solution. You've got to try and work things out for yourself. And it's exactly the same with running a business. You can't always have somebody at the side of you going, yes, just press that. You've got to work it out for yourself. Don't we know that so well? And it is exactly the same principles. That's sort of what I would say to people. Yeah, just think about the managing certain aspects of your life and your child or whatever it is, and then sort of once you've got a bit more control over that, then start thinking, right, what else could I do, and utilize the same skills that you've got for both.
Yeah. And it's working for you. And as you say, there are obviously days when you just think, oh my God, why am I trying to fit so much in? But then on the other hand, it is giving you a lot of self-satisfaction, isn't it? That actually you have said, no, this isn't just going to define the rest of my life. Yeah. And it's giving you a lot of self-satisfaction. And like you say, so so many mums in a similar position to you, special need mums, who look to you and say, wow, you're an inspiration. And that's the thing, isn't it? That is, somebody has to say, it isn't the end of your life. This is, you can build a life for you as well as being a special needs mum.
Yeah, absolutely. No, definitely. You can have both, but it does take planning. Literally, that is the thing. It takes planning on both sides, and building up the confidence. And I think so much more so with parents with special needs children, the confidence is often the bit that diminishes over time, because you're being bombarded with things to do with school and to do with medical things or hospitals, whatever. Everything is all literally sort of feels like the demands on you like that. And so your confidence just drops, because you feel like you're being pushed, in so many directions and made to feel like you're making a fuss or something like that. And you need to get over that part And that does take time. I wouldn't say it's an instant thing. I think if you're, you know, still trying to manage that side of life and come to terms with that side of things, then setting up a business is maybe not the right thing to do at that point in time. But you can plan it. You can plan ahead, and there's a lot of preparation work that can go in, if you know what that is, that you can do along the way. And that's sort of what I've been doing, is I've been building up ideas and concepts and methodologies and that type of thing in the background. And I because that's the way my brain works, it doesn't go quiet. And I certainly couldn't just be sitting around waiting for the next hospital appointment, or, you know, I throw myself into everything. That's why we are specialists, what we needed to do, and we took it upon ourselves to do what we needed to do for our child. And it's the same principle with your business, isn't it? You ask who you need to help you develop it. So yeah, so I would say that, like, you know, it can be done, but it does take a bit of time and a bit of management.
Yeah. And for anybody that's sitting listening, let's say, who's, and I know you and me have talked about this, and about when, you know, you think this is it, like, I'm going to have to, it's hard, it's not that you're sacrificing, it's because you love your child. Obviously you're a mum and you love your child, but then sort of like there's almost like there's this light of your dreams of what you were going to do for yourself are almost diminished. And you and I have talked about this, but it's not like that, is it? You can have both. And so for anybody that's just thinking, gosh, can I do anything with my life? What is your last bit of advice? Because, like I say, your story is so inspirational, and I know in the WOWs, which is our community, there's literally hundreds of women with special needs children, literally hundreds. So out in the big wide world, there's millions, obviously. So what is your last bit of advice?
Well, the way that I've decided to sort of tackle it is that I'm trying to develop a business that potentially my son could actually be involved in. And that to me is it's like the icing on the cake, really. It's a goal for me, but it also means that there's potentially something that I can create that he can then be part of. So that would be, you know, the ultimate dream for most parents. But I suppose taking it back to the basic side of things is look at what you can do, what your skills are, what you did before, what you would like to do, because you may not want to do what you did before, and do some training in that type of thing, talk to people, and then sort of work out how you might be able to adapt that to create a business for yourself. And even better, if you can then adapt that to build in your child, you know, for a future opportunity, or other people's children, or just be part of something else that's the same as that. You know, I'm about to employ a number of special needs mums in what I'm doing to take it forward, and again, hopefully they'll get some inspiration from that as well, in terms of thinking, oh gosh, you know, my child could actually fit into that, or do that, or be involved in that. And so I think it's looking at a bigger picture, not just looking, it is really hard, because often as a parent carer, you are looking from day to day, and you are literally managing a day at a time and seeing if you can get through that day, and you've done it, so you tick a box, oh, hey, it's a little celebration. So to look like a month ahead or 2 years ahead, it's quite tricky, because there's also that element of unknown. You don't really know what's going to happen for your child, or the impact on your family, or whatever. So you almost got to try and delete that from your mind, and still have a goal, and you know, and if the goal is to support your child either financially, because you've set up your own business, or that you can incorporate them into that business, then I just think that's what better goal is there.
Exactly. And again, like you say, if your business, long-term goal for your business is to be able to financially support your child, then what better goal is that, really? So it's incredible. Karen, thank you so much for chatting. And like I say, I know that this is going to help so many women. You are a wonderful a wonderful older woman succeeding, although you're not that old. Not as old as me. And I love having you as part of our community. You are a really brilliant support, and it's been lovely. I feel honoured to have had this interview with you. And I will see you soon.
Brilliant, thank you.
Yeah, take care, Karen. Have a really lovely day.
Yeah, and you.
Take care. Bye.